never left. This radio show is loved by many, hated by a few, respected by all. We're second to none. I'm getting everything ready right now. I have my Instagram up. You got me all over. Ed Grade 1906 on Twitter, Ed Grade 1906 on Instagram. But this radio show is loved by many, hated by a few, respected by all, second to none. Those are only numbers that really matter, second to none. And you know what really matters this time around, this time of the year? This time of the year, it's election time. Election time. Do something creative this year. Go out and vote. Show me some love. Show all of the candidates here some love. February 14th, early voting starts. Hey, but you know what? Before the early voting starts, we're going to get down. We're going to go ahead and make sure you're down with the facts. We're going to kick the facts. And today we have Judge Nancy Mulder that's going to be here, and she's here right here with us. Judge, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, not a problem, not a problem. How do you like coming here? I mean, you had to drive a little far, a little distance to get here, so I appreciate you doing that. So I really do appreciate that. We are here in Bedford, Texas. I've been complaining about Bedford, Texas, but but I am so glad you took time out of your busy schedule to be here.
It only took 22 minutes from the courthouse.
22. So. You didn't speed, did you?
Never.
Never. Never. Okay, that's a great answer to have. Never speed.
Not
never
that I'm
speed.
aware.
Not that.
not that I can recollect.
That's a typical lawyer response.
Absolutely.
I don't.
You have a beautiful studio. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
It is.
Thank you.
It is. We just moved in this week. You're one of our first guests here.
Thrilled.
So
thank you.
We wanted to go ahead and open with you this week. This is opening week, and we are very proud to have you here. So
I'm proud to be here. Thank you.
Hey, I tell you what, you brought your cards, your push cards here.
Yes, sir.
And Judge Nancy Mulder, Democrat for judge,
yes.
JudgeMulder.com. Beautiful card. Tell us about yourself.
Thank you very much. Well, hopefully you've got a nice filter on that lens, because I am in my 27th year of practicing criminal law in Dallas County. I started as a prosecutor, where I stayed for 12 years. Then I practiced criminal defense for 8, prosecuting, and I've prosecuted and defended everything up and through capital murder cases myself in trial. And then when this current court that I'm on, this misdemeanor court bench, when the judge decided to retire, I ran and was elected in 2014.
2014.
So I am in my 8th year of being a judge, and I absolutely love it. Now, I have filed for an open felony bench. I want to take everything I've learned and done in 27 years, take it up to the felony court, and I'm now running for criminal district court number 6.
Okay, that's CD6.
CDC 6.
CD6.
Yes,
okay, so
going from 4 to 6.
Okay, so from misdemeanors now, and,
yes,
and define for those folks that are listening at home. They most people, generally speaking, are not in the criminal justice system.
Yes.
They're not. Despite people say the crime rate is all this and this and this, most people are not. So what's
Correct.
the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony?
Well, we have a saying down at the courthouse that in misdemeanor court, you prosecute and defend people that do stupid things. And in felony court, you're prosecuting people who do even more stupid things.
Right.
But a misdemeanor, for example, are your typical Class A and B misdemeanors, not to be mistaken for a speeding ticket, which is a Class C misdemeanor that is charged in the city where you got your ticket. Class A and B misdemeanors are assault, domestic violence, evading arrest, resisting arrest.
And those are what now?
Class A and B misdemeanors,
Okay.
where the maximum punishment is up to a year in the county jail.
Okay, so that's county. Okay,
That's right.
Okay.
A felony court is where you hear everything from low-level drug amounts like cocaine on up and through capital murder cases, your aggravated robbery, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. They're much more serious crimes. And honestly, that is where I spent most of my career as a prosecutor and defense attorney. That being said, I am so glad I've had these almost 8 years on the misdemeanor bench, because that institutional knowledge in trying to change the bureaucracy and the system is really going to help me on the felony bench with everything else I've learned.
Okay. Felony bench, so that's like real time.
Absolutely.
But I guess if you do any hour in jail, it's real time.
It is, but that's where you're looking at up to life in prison
Life in prison.
for your first degree felony offenses.
So you did prosecuting and you also did defense as,
Yes,
as
sir.
an attorney? So where'd you go to college at? Where'd you attend college?
Indiana University, along with my fellow judge Shaquita Kelly, who I absolutely adore. She is currently the judge.
Indiana University?
Indiana University.
Okay.
I'm from a small town in Illinois where I grew up. I lived for a year, about a year and a half in Duncanville, went to Clint Smith grade school when I was a little girl.
You're from Duncanville.
I spent a year and a half there, but then my mom and dad wanted to go back up to Illinois where all their family was. But I remember I used to walk to school. I lived right in that neighborhood.
What neighborhood was that?
Well, wherever Clint Smith grade
You
school
don't even
is.
know where it's at?
I've driven past it because I know that the rec center is near there because I've gone to the NAACP meetings close to there. And honestly, I feel nostalgic about it. So
Is that over there where the Dairy Queen's at in that area over there?
I don't go to Dairy Queen.
You don't go to
so I
Dairy
don't know.
Queen?
I know.
okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I
I'm
know.
telling off on myself.
I'm an adopted Texan.
Okay.
But I get nostalgic and I'll go drive by the school and everything.
Okay.
And I know which house it was that we lived in.
So Illinois
Mm-hmm.
and then Indiana and law school was
St. Mary's University in San Antonio, School
okay.
of Law.
All right, St. Mary's.
Yep.
The other SMU, St. Mary's.
The other SMU.
Yeah.
And my first job out of law school was here in Dallas at the Dallas DA's office.
So who was the DA then?
I was hired by John Vance
Wow.
way back when.
Wow. So John Vance, how many DAs have you worked under?
3, John Vance, Bill Hill, and Craig Watkins.
Wow. Wow. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
So
been wonderful. I've had a wonderful career, and I absolutely love criminal law.
and the last DA you worked under, you said was Craig Watkins?
Yes, sir.
And then from that, you ran for judge.
No, from there, I had a baby, my son. Gosh, and he's about to be, well, he is 15. He's about to be 16. When he was 1, my husband, who's now my ex-husband, but he was practicing criminal defense as well, and we were both having a hard time managing baby and both of our careers. So I left and became a criminal defense attorney so I could have the flexibility to take care of our son. And that, I left the DA's office thinking I knew everything about criminal law. And then I became a criminal defense attorney. And I realized I don't know half. And thank goodness I had that experience, because it gave me such a better, more important, more depth of experience in criminal law that has made me much more prepared to be a judge. I think that experience was invaluable.
So what's the main difference between criminal defense attorney and a prosecutor? You just gave
Yes.
yeah, right.
The biggest difference, okay, so the skill set is the same as far as
Right.
trying cases. But as a prosecutor, there is a disconnect between thinking about why did this crime happen and the person who committed this crime. When you're a prosecutor, that is simply the defendant, and you don't spend a lot of time thinking about who that person is. And when you become a defense attorney, not only are their responsibility is so much greater, honestly, because this person's life is in your hands the rest of their life sometimes when they're charged with capital murder or some other horrific crime. And when you talk to this person and you get to know the person, you find out, what happened in your life. What led you to be here today? And you talk to their family members, wives, children, mothers, fathers. I mean, it gives you such a bigger, broader experience as far as how our criminal justice system works and how it is so important that we have a lot of these initiatives that we have now that we didn't have when I started, as a prosecutor.
Okay, yeah, I think I got it. It reminds me of that movie, The Fugitive. In the movie The Fugitive, where the guy's like saying, "I didn't do it. I'm innocent. I'm innocent," And then Tommy Lee Jones says,
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's right. That's right.
I don't care. My job is to get you.
That's
so
right.
that's it. So if I have to put you in jail, I have to put you in jail. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the difference. So on the other side is you care about how, as a criminal defense attorney,
Yeah, it just really opens your eyes to it because and we have changed a lot in 26 years. You know, back in the late 90s, when we had, 400 murders a year in Dallas, it was really high, and it
400 murders in Dallas in the 1990s.
Yeah, per year.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay. Yeah,
per
that's
year.
what I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Really?
it was really high.
And it's like 200 now, and we complaining now.
Yeah, I mean, it was really bad.
Wow.
Back then, and it was all about getting convictions and winning, and the mindset was different, the culture was different, and I'm so glad that not only have we changed, and John Crusoe was a big part of that in the late 90s, creating drug courts and doing that. And I remember the flack he got for doing that back then, and now that it's become the standard is remarkable, phenomenal, how much the system has changed to take into consideration all of our social ills that lead people to feel like they need to use drugs to cope with their lives, and that then leads them to a life of crime. But I've grown and changed as well, as far as, understanding so much more than I did back then. And I think that is the experience that I've had personally.
So how so's the change?
Oh, goodness. Well, now we have so many diversion courts as far as trying to, with our limited resources, and that's the biggest problem we have, create a system where we do look at why somebody has committed the offense they have. Does a person need help with drug treatment, with anger management for domestic violence cases? Has typically people who abuse children were abused themselves. Is there something we can do to help somebody? Because I say this, but it's really true. No child in the first grade, when they're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? No one says, oh, I want to go spend the rest of my life in prison. So what happens? What happens from that, in that baby's life, that leads them to where they are now? So what can I do as a judge where, can I make a difference in this person's life? Can I help them change? And yes, if you do the time, or I'm sorry, if you commit the crime, you've got to do the time. But is there any movement for compassion and equity for someone who has done something awful, where we can try to bring a resolution to the victim's family, and somehow make a difference so that after this person gets out of prison, if they're going to, that we can make sure that they do go live a good and honest life. And I'll be honest, a lot of the young people, the majority of young people down at the criminal courthouse are men of color, Latino and African American. And that is a tragedy to me, that so many young people are in the system. And that is the over policing of certain parts of our neighborhoods in Dallas, where African American and Latino young men have contact with the police at a rate that is 91% higher than Caucasians.
Right, because if you drive past me 20 times during the day, you're going to find me doing something that you can stop me for, and that's the contact,
Well, and I have a little snapshot. I started the Cite and Release Court back in 2017.
What's Cite and Release?
That is an initiative I started with the city of Dallas when Philip Kingston was a city councilman, to end on-site arrest for possession of marijuana in DPD. Because so many kids, and I mean 17, 18, 19-year-olds, were getting arrested with marijuana, coming to jail. They couldn't afford a bond, which we can talk about the initiatives that we've made for changes in the cash bail system as well. But with cite and release, it meant that if you were caught with a usable quantity of marijuana, which is a misdemeanor offense, the
What's
police,
a usable amount for some? May be not a usable amount for others. What is considered a usable amount?
less than 2 ounces,
2 ounces, which is what?
a joint.
Okay, there you go. Break it
Yes.
down. All right,
All right.
all right. Which is what? Okay.
A joint.
Okay.
So if you're caught with that, then the police would give you a citation to appear in my court, where you would then be magistrated. And that or if you're driving, the difference is this: you're not getting taken to jail having to post a bond. Your car isn't getting towed. Your children aren't going to CPS. I mean, it just makes a world of difference for people. And people would then come to my court about 2 months later. And the DAs then decide if they're going to prosecute the case or not. When John Crusoe came in as DA and he started turning away the less than 2 ounces of marijuana cases, that kind of dried up my
And that when he
court.
came in as a DA.
Yes.
Okay.
But people can't and are still being cited and released. Just the DAs are then turning away the cases. So
Okay.
people are it's still in works.
So you get a ticket. You have
It's not a ticket, it's a citation to appear in my court.
it's a citation.
Because when you say ticket, people think it's a Class C
Right.
misdemeanor, like a speeding ticket. It's
Right,
not. You can still be charged.
a lot of people say, you
Right.
just get a ticket for it.
Right.
So
No,
no,
you
it's
get,
a citation.
It's a citation to appear in my court. And then if you don't appear, and it says that on there, we created the whole thing. We had to start from ground zero, created the whole program. It says you have to come to my court on this date, call this number if you have a problem. But if you don't show up and the DAs decide they're going to prosecute you for this marijuana, then a warrant will be issued for your arrest.
Okay.
So,
All right.
but we try to give people a chance.
Okay.
You know.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to give you a chance right now to get caught up in everything with some music. We're going to play some music right now. We're going to be here all day long. But check it out. We have Judge Nancy Mulder. She's going to come, when we come back from break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about cash bail bond,
Yes,
So we're going to talk
please.
about that, Hey, everyone in jail is an innocent man or woman, provided,
Exactly.
They can get out, right? But hey.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty. But hey, listen to this music. All right, we'll be right back.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Such restraints don't seem to let me move. But I'm convinced, even though my suspicions I can't prove. So it's on when I call on the squad and put together a case and plan a high-speed chase. It's time to investigate. First thing when I get to the scene, I gather evidence out of a routine. And next up I start the interview prep and catch you in the lead as my chief suspect. And now I wish I didn't have the keys to your place. Couldn't find evidence of this chick's DNA. I'm just another victim in this fraud case, and I've changed my name. You can call me Detective Smart. My job is protecting my heart. You didn't seem to care from the start. You've been charged by Detective Smart. Underneath the cover of the night, my intuition was telling me I was right. So lights off when I hopped in the right and followed you down the street to see who you'd meet. Just add another chick to your rap sheet. Too dumb you didn't even run, just stood while your alibi came undone. And now all you do is deny. You still shocked you got caught by this private eye. But now you wished you hadn't played the game. Could have been home with me instead of here looking lame. You gotta own up and take the blame. You changed my name. Now you call me Detective Smart. My job is protecting my heart. You didn't seem to care from the start.
love tight, step me in no real smooth criminal detective ain't telling me it's over. Brand clothes, many tips, and the petty for your toes. Girl, who made your hand glow? Who made your neck froze? Look, she just a girl next door. Chick who ain't got a clue. No need to seduce who got me. I chose. No courage, no heart, no brain. Girl, she gotta go. Now click your heels 3 times and come on back home.
No need to prosecute, cause I'm through. I can't believe I was so dumb, I believed you. All the things my girls warned me of, they came true. Surveillance, I have proof, arrest was long overdue. You thought she was just another lover, surprised to find out hired and undercover. No need to give a plea, I'll find a man who respect me, won't have to be detective smart. My job is protecting my heart. You didn't seem to care from the start.
Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bond. I'm the founder of the Irving branch of the NAACP, also known as the John Wally Price of Irving, Texas. And I'm here to welcome you to tune in to the Commish Show, hosted by the infamous Mr. Ed Gray.
Back again, Commish Radio Show, and hey, you've been listening to Handle This, the CD by Janelle Gray. You can pick that up. That's my daughter, Janelle Gray. You've been listening to Private Detective. Private Detective. Hey, Private Detective. Hey, Judge, have you ever worked with any detectives before?
Yes, absolutely. And your daughter has a beautiful voice. I thought that, I had no idea.
Yeah,
What a talent.
we just was talking about this, so she having her followed and everything. And like, you see how I rolled that one in there? Like, oh,
Yes,
yeah.
you did, absolutely. And I've worked with Dallas police detectives from almost every city in Dallas County and Tarrant County. And then, yes, when you're a criminal defense attorney, private investigators or detectives are extremely important in finding witnesses. So, yes, we've used them a lot.
I was offered a job many, many years ago when I attended Law Magnet High School. A couple of people down in the court system, judges now that attended Law Magnet. Judge Adam Mullen and Judge Ingrid Warren, they both attended Law Magnet High School.
Oh, wonderful.
So I was there with Adam Mullen was there, Judge Adam Mullen was there. But I was offered a job to be a private detective by attorney by the name of Gustavo Gonzalez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know him?
It sounds familiar, but I
Yeah.
think he was before my time.
Yeah, of course he was before your time. That's how long I've been doing this. People been asking me, they said, how long you been doing it? I literally since I was 16 years old.
That's
I've been doing it.
amazing.
So, I'm glad I didn't get in no kind of trouble.
Yep.
Because if I got in trouble, I would probably be still down there because I can't afford the bail bonds or anything.
Yeah.
Talk to me about bail bonds.
Well, the bail bond industry was, and that's the key word, was a $13 billion industry in this country. And the problem is that we had standards where if you were charged with this when you were arrested, this is what your bond was. Because we have magistrate judges in the jail 24/7 that are setting bonds for people. And that ultimately resulted in poor people not being able to make their bonds, and they were sitting in jail, rotting away. And poor people and people who could not afford bonds, that had a disparate impact on people of color, and that is not fair. There has been a lot of movement on the cash bail system. I actually lectured about this back in 2016 during a probation conference. But most importantly, back in 2016, we got a grant from the Caruth Meadows Foundation to start mental health PR bonds. A PR bond, a personal recognizance bond, is when a judge signs one, you are let out of jail without having to give any money. So what we did, we created a system where when you're booked into jail, if you suffer a mental illness, when you talk to the nurse, you're immediately identified. And as soon as the next day dawns, pretrial release comes and talks with you. We literally walk you out of the jail, put you in a van, drive you to Metro Crest Services, and walk you in so that you talk to someone who can get you services for your medication, try to help you find housing, and get you stable. So we started that in 2016. Since then, as you know, Dallas County was sued over cash bail bonds, which was timely. You know, we were making changes, and then the lawsuit happened. But what we do and what we do in my court is, if you are in jail after 48 hours, you are brought to court, and with your attorney, we talk about, you know, can you make a bond? What is the charge? What is your criminal history, etc. And then you are given a PR bond if it's appropriate. And 99% of the time, it is appropriate. The only time it's not is when I've given you a few PR bonds before and you keep committing offenses, then you've given me no choice at that point, you know. But if somebody suffers a mental illness, is homeless, we have so many programs now where we can get people housing, etc.
Well, you know, it appears that I don't have any stats to prove this, and that's always important to have when you're talking to professional folks such as yourself. You say, how do you know that? You don't have any stats here. But it appears that a lot of people down in the court system suffer from mental illness.
Half, roughly, almost half. And it's a problem. And it's not like you see in the movies. It's not that mentally ill people are committing heinous crimes. They're committing misdemeanor crimes, typically. The only felonies that homeless people really commit are going to be, you know, having higher level drugs, cocaine, heroin, or, you know, burglary because they want to get stuff to pawn so that they can feed their drug habit. Because, you know, if you're schizophrenic and on some of these, you know, lithium, it makes you feel so bad. And, you know, heroin makes you feel real good. So people, you know, getting off of drugs is hard enough if you are a normal person. I can't, if you are schizophrenic or suffer from bipolar disorder, trying to quit drugs, it would be nearly impossible. Really, if you're hearing voices, seeing things that aren't there, I can't imagine. So yes, that's a whole nother issue and a whole nother problem, and we've got to come up with better treatment plans for that population. Now, unfortunately, you know, and I talked about the people in my court because they're misdemeanor offenses. What we have now, because of COVID, we have a lot of men, mostly men, in jail. And there is a disparate impact between men and women in jail. Okay. Women are not typically arrested. It is mostly men. Okay. And I think that's because of our society, because women will usually trade safety and or drugs, and the man is the one going out to commit crime, to do those, you know, and ends up in jail. Or I don't know, there's a disparate impact. There's a lot more men in jail. I have to look at that. But where was I? Oh, because of COVID, we have a lot of people in Dallas County Jail waiting for jury trials on their felony offenses. So if I'm elected to Criminal District Court 6, the very, very first thing I will do is look at every single one who is in jail in that court for felony offense and see, is there any way we can let them out so that the community is safe and that they will not reoffend? Okay.
When we come back, we're going to go to our last break, and when we come back, we're going to go to a closing. I know you know a couple of things about closings.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to go to a closing. We want to get one more music interlude in. Pick up Handle This, the CD Baby by Janelle Gray, and we'll be right back, okay?
In the club, I see you looking out the corner of your eye. Trying to act like you don't know what's up, like you didn't even see me walk by. You stay by the bar drinking, but I know what you are thinking. You wanna know if I can move, or watch me put these moves on you. You pretend that you're unsure, but I know that you just want your hands on my thighs while you look in my eyes. Get a glance on my lips, say, can you handle this? Giving into this temptation and accept this invitation. Get out on the floor when I dip it down low. Watch me bring it up slow. Wanna give you some more, some more. I know you wanted this. Body's twisting to the beat of the song. I got my hands in the air. I know you feeling me. Sweat dripping all over your face. I got you wondering if you really can stand the heat. Just watch my hips start winding and feel my body grinding. We making love on the dance floor, but I don't think you can handle more. Naughty things go through your mind if you grab on me from behind. Ain't hearing what you say. Let the music play. Put your hands on my waist and let me give you a taste to taste. Stop all your romancing. This is about dancing. Get out on the floor when I dip it down low. Watch me bring it up slow. I wanna give you some more, some more.
Yeah, no. Bring that back. Yeah, I'm going in. Yeah. Okay, look. It's a new moon, watch me change up. See you strutting red bottles, pumps laced up. I got this under control, might as well let it go. Luda, I'ma see how low she'll go. Look, don't be scared, go ahead, bring it back. Watch me blow a stack and make it right back. I ain't no new boy, she love to call me jerk. Just call me the boss, I love to see you clerk. Focus, focus, girl, I'm focused. Magic stick, that's it, little potion. What you talking about? Look, I've been here. Do you wanna get next to me? Just going in.
Do you think that you can handle this? Do you?
This is John Creuzot, your Democratic candidate for District Attorney for Dallas County. Thank you to the Commish and Ed Gray and the Commish Radio Show.
All right, can you handle this? You know, the radio show, loved by many, hated by few, respected by all, we're second to none. We're closing out the first of 3 hours. Three-peat, Commish Radio Show, three-peat. So we have our next guest coming up right now. She's here right now, and just wanted to go ahead and close out with Judge Nancy Mulder. You know, we've been talking now about you coming on the show a long time. And
Long time.
last time I think we were actually together, it was with Judge Creuzot. We were together then, and so
4 years ago.
4 years ago. That was before COVID and all that.
2 years of COVID, which is insane. You know, I made it 2 years, vaxxed and boosted. Thank goodness for that, because I finally caught it. I finally caught it. I tested positive 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I was sick. I was sick for a good 9 days. It was a flu for me. My son, who I caught it from, 15 years old, for him it was like a bad sinus infection. I was really sick for a few days, but I can't imagine not being vaccinated and trying to fight that. It was tough.
Now, how else has COVID affected your courtroom?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, Dallas County was really far behind in its technology, but thank goodness I have to give big props and kudos to Judge Shaquita Kelly, because she created this court call kiosk where we can have inmates in jail in front of a kiosk, and it's like an iPad. We push paperwork electronically through it. They sign it electronically, so we're not having to meet face to face and risk the spread. So she was on that and did that, and thankfully, and I was still going down to the courthouse 3 days a week throughout the entire pandemic, because, you know, I didn't want anybody to sit in jail and linger, you know, when this whole pandemic was going on. But it has, it affected us, as it made us realize what we were missing, and thankfully our commissioners funded us so we could get what we needed.
Okay, and what is it that you actually need?
We got laptops, which was great. We got court kiosks for court call, which meant not only the kiosks themselves, we needed funding for new deputy sheriffs to bring people in and out, new training for the system, not only for the judges, DAs, and defense bar. So it was a whole big production that we got up and running within 4 or 5 months, since March of, was that 2019? My goodness. But yes. So we are rolling, whether it's virtual, and we're going to keep using it, whether we're virtual or in person. And we're back in person, which is great.
Now, CD6, and you explained earlier to our listeners and our viewers the court system. If you were elected, what would you do differently from the predecessor?
Oh, well, what's most important and the pandemic it has given us great things like court call and the kiosks, but I started streaming hearings and trials online through my Facebook page, which you can find on Facebook, Judge Mulder. And I will continue to do that even when we're fully back to normal, which God
Hopefully.
willing we are.
Yeah.
I will continue to stream and I'm going to create a YouTube channel where we can do that. In addition, it's being there. My first term as judge on this bench, I reduced the pending caseload by 41%. 41%. I'm really proud of that because we worked hard to make sure that people got their day in court and justice was not delayed, because justice delayed is justice denied.
That's a good deal, because I wouldn't want to be down there.
Only for jury duty.
Yeah, I
We
wouldn't
need
wanna
people for jury duty.
Well, for jury duty.
Yes, sir.
How do we get more people for jury duty?
Okay, so this is how this works, and I would like to change it as well. We jury summons now. This has to be, of course, done in the state legislature. You get your jury summons through your address on your driver's license.
Right.
Now, because people who don't own homes will move from apartment to apartment, and therefore they're not getting their jury summons. So I would like to change it so that we can use your utility bills, electric and water, so that you can get your jury summons that way, as opposed to simply using a driver's license.
Now, that's clever. Now that we're talking about that, let's segue into voting rights.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Ugh.
All right, let's flip the script. Voting rights, okay? Because some, voting. Some people live in an apartment, then they move, and then they find out they can't vote, or they denied voting, or
It just drives me nuts that you see the Republicans, and this is a definite party issue, and I'm a Democrat, and this is why I was a precinct chair. I registered voters. And that was back in 2011. Worked on organizing for America, phone bank, block walked, droplet texted in every primary gubernatorial and presidential race since then, because we need Democrats in office. We are a non-voting state. We need people to vote. Every time you move, you have to re-register. It is that simple. Every time you move, register under your new address, and then you can vote.
And I think it's somewhat silly that forms of identification in the state of Texas, like if I had a concealed, well, it's not even concealed now.
I know. It's a free-for-all now.
Yeah. But you have a gun license, that's a form of identification. But if you're a student, that's not a form of identification.
I know, it drives me nuts. The Republicans get on and they talk about how much they love America and love our democracy. If that was true, they wouldn't be afraid of people voting. And what they are doing is suppressing the vote for people of color. And that is heinous. It is absolutely wrong. It is against our democratic principles. It is against the Constitution. What is happening to the Voting Rights Act of 1965 is abominable, and Mitch McConnell's now creation of the Supreme Court scares me, because I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Well, we're not going to concentrate and have you bash Mitch McConnell. That's my job. I will do that.
Oh, I'll chime in anytime.
I will do that. You're out of order. He said, I'll do that. We're getting ready to go to a closing, so we have our next guest, and as I said, we have a three-peat today. So want you to go ahead and give us a closing. Can you handle this? Can you give us
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. And I can't believe it's been 4 years. That the pandemic has really just thrown us all through a loop. But we are in a primary season. I am running for an open felony bench, Criminal District Court number 6, and my name is Nancy Mulder. I have the most experience than my opponent. I have practiced criminal law for 26 years here in Dallas County. I believe that I am fair, compassionate, and with this experience and the initiatives that I've started, which you can see on my website, judgemulder.com, that's MULDER. You can see some of the other things I've done. And you can ask your elected officials. I have been endorsed by Senator Royce West, Commissioner John Wally Price, Commissioner Dr. Elba Garcia, Commissioner Teresa Daniel. I have been endorsed by multiple Democratic clubs, Tejano Democrats, Stonewall, Lake Highlands, White Rock, East Dallas Democrats, Tejano Democrats, and others. I'm an active participant. I work hard, and I believe that I am the best candidate for this position. And I'll make you this promise: I will not let you down. I will be there. I will work hard, and I will do everything I can to listen and be there for everyone who comes to court, because everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, respect, compassion, and fairness when they are in court, no matter how many cases are on the docket that day, because it is that person's one chance in front of the judge. And I know that. So I hope you'll vote for me, Nancy Mulder, Criminal District Court 6. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you're listening to the Commish Radio Show. You saw how that closing was? I mean, I felt like I was in a jury box right now. But you know what? You're in a listening box.
When it comes
right
from the
now.
heart.
You're in a listening box right now with the Commish Radio Show. We'll be right back. But meanwhile, as I said before, can you handle this? Pick this up on CD, baby. So we'll see you guys back with our next guest. All right? Take care.
Hey, how you doing? This is Ed Gray of the Commish Radio Show. Stay tuned and tune in and be up to speed on everything in social justice, human rights, and politics on the Commish Radio Show, airing every Saturday, 5 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Jump in.